I I want to show you guys this videos. I'm going to show you like the regular Xiaomi phones and the Xiaomi Ultra phones. And what I wanted to like explain why I want to get these phones is because I want to get rid of all Apple products. So I have like an iPad, Apple Watch, an iPhone, and I just have the iPhone 13. I I never like wanted to like upgrade a new phone unless my phone is just like completely busted. So when I went from like iPhone 6 to iPhone 12 or iPhone 13, the reason why is because my battery was like dying all the time. I even try to like replace it and it'll still like drain the battery and I had to charge the phone like 2 or 3 times, and then that was like the reason of upgrading. But now it's like my storage is so full because of the iOS and the system. Like it's hard to like have multiple apps, like trying to keep all photos, and then they try to promote you with like the whole iCloud thing where I don't want to pay more subscriptions to my wallet. So and also I think everyone's just tired about the whole iPhone stuff. So I'm gonna show you the Xiaomi 17, which you can get like the Xiaomi 16 and 15, right? I'm gonna make like a video series when I get like the Xiaomi watch, the 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 tablet and the phone, just to compare it and also help people like get these products because I think people are just tired with the whole iPhone stuff, and I know a lot of people are like transferring to like Samsung, the Nothing phones, the Huawei phones, or Google Pixels, like those stuff. Um, but yeah, I'm like kind of like locked in of I want to get these Xiaomi products and like see how it is, and then show you guys like making videos in the future. So yeah, I'm gonna show you this here.
The iPhone 17 Pro Max. And this is the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max. And at first glance, it would be very easy to dismiss this as just another Chinese iPhone clone because it kinda is, and that's kind of how it like first hit my radar. Xiaomi has been making their flagships very friendly to iPhone
Also, I love this green, so I definitely would want a green phone like this.
users for years now, and this one's no exception. It's an extremely similar shape. It has the same flat sides, the speakers and the antenna lines, and just the general aesthetic look familiar. Like this one's camera plateau is very reminiscent of the new iPhones. And it doesn't end there. The software experience has also for years taken some not so subtle cues from iOS, from the quick control pull down to certain stock app aesthetics to even certain widgets and icons. They have their own dynamic island going on up there. And Xiaomi even, yes, changed the name of their whole flagship phone lineup, skipping a number, to match the iPhones. So yes, there is a base Xiaomi 17, 17 Pro, and 17 Pro Max this year.
That's
But,
cool.
as I talked about in my switching video, linked below the like button, that stuff's just to get you in the door. That's just to make you comfortable. But then once you start looking into the rest of this phone and actually using it like I have, that's when you're exposed to all the rest of what makes it so good. And this phone is a spec monster that feels, I guess, specifically designed to one up the iPhone. It's like an iPhone, but better. Like take this display for example. This is the Pro Max, so it's the same size, 6.9-inch diagonal
It looks the
as the
same.
iPhone Pro Max. Pretty similar even bezels all the way around. Now it's actually slightly beat on resolution, but you can never tell that with your eyes. What you can tell is it does get noticeably brighter, and it has a much smaller cutout at the top because it trades Face ID for a super fast ultrasonic fingerprint reader underneath the display.
That's cool.
So, like an iPhone, but better. But, maybe all that's not that impressive to you. Like, the iPhone's display isn't that unbeatable. What about the chip? Because the iPhone Pro Max is the one you get when you want the absolute maximum performance, and that A19 Pro chip with the vapor chamber is pretty sick. But the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max is one of the first phones shipping with the new Qualcomm flagship chip, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, and turns out it's made some solid strides in performance over the already impressive Snapdragon 8 Elite, to the point where it's essentially now matching the iPhone's record-breaking single-core performance, bar for bar. And it's actually beating it in multi-core and GPU, so now it has credible claim to just be the world's fastest mobile chip, period.
Dang.
And it's paired with 16 gigs of RAM and up to a terabyte of fast UFS 4.1 storage.
See, this is what I want. I want like this amount of storage. I don't want to have like an iOS where 33% of my storage is already filled up from the system in the iOS. Like a terabyte for your phone? That's amazing. I would love that. This is what I want, because I take so many photos of my cat. I take photos a lot. And like if it has a good camera, obviously I want to take photos, you know?
So yeah, I'd say like an iPhone.
But they're gonna talk about the photos, I'm assuming. There's a cool feature you'll love.
But better. But okay, every flagship phone is fast these days. That's just bragging rights, you know, a little higher benchmark scores here or there, whatever. What about battery? That's where the Pro Max is supposed to excel, right? Yeah, so the smaller Xiaomi 17 Pro is already super impressive. Thanks to this highest density silicon carbon battery we've ever seen, it is a 6,300 milliamp hour battery.
Hey.
That's already bigger than the S25 Ultra, bigger than the OnePlus 13, bigger than any iPhone ever made by a mile, and that's without getting rid of the SIM card tray. But then this Pro Max, well, this Pro Max has a 7,500 milliamp hour battery. 7,500 milliamp hours. And it has 100-watt wired charging with a charger that comes in the box, and it has 50-watt wireless charging. This thing is ridiculous. You know, I haven't really had it long enough to test it, just a few days, and I can't even really daily this phone since it's the China-only model, which is a bummer, but I kind of have zero.
So I've been seeing this a lot on TikTok, where if you have T-Mobile or Mint Mobile, you can transfer your SIM card into these phones, which I have Mint Mobile, and I want to like I said, I'll make the video a bit if it does work, and I want to like, you know, show everyone like how I did it, because I have Mint Mobile. I'm assuming it'll be like the same thing if you use T-Mobile.
Doubts that this is going to be a great battery performer. So if that's something you care about at all with a Pro Max flagship phone, it's all here. And the fact that it's silicon carbon means you get all this extra capacity, but the phone's not any thicker or heavier because of it. Matter of fact, this phone is lighter than the iPhone 17 Pro Max.
Dang.
My favorite stat though might be that it has 22.5 watt reverse wireless charging. So you can use this phone as a battery bank to wireless charge all kinds of other accessories, and could charge up an iPhone from, I think, dead to 100% if you really wanted to.
Dang.
So yeah, the battery is kind of nothing like the iPhone, just better. Now, if it's cameras that you care about, well, naturally the triple 48 megapixel cameras on the iPhone 17 Pros will appeal a lot to you. I don't think it's
But there's these ultras, the ones with the big cameras. That's the next video we'll watch. I've been debating about like getting like a 15 or 16 ultra, like a 15 ultra phone, because I can use it for like ASMR videos.
It's a coincidence, though, that this Xiaomi is nicely outfitted also with triple cameras that are 50 megapixels each for a nice little one-up. But it's not the megapixel count that matters. What matters is all three of these cameras are actually really good. They're super impressive. They each take very detailed, crisp shots with a naturally shallow depth of field, and honestly mostly decent colors with some different tastes. You know, they tend to overexpose my skin tone on my face, like a lot of other phones from this region do, but my own skin tone with no faces detected is way more accurate. The telephoto has also been really impressing me. It's a 5x optical zoom, and it has even more natural bokeh and naturally a really nice portrait look.
That's cool.
And these are all just the 12 megapixel stills, not even full 50 megapixel shots. And then there's a bunch of other really nice customizations in the camera app.
Oh my god.
Things like 8K video, which you're watching right now. Also the little exposure slider in auto mode, which is always there. I actually use that a lot and it's sweet. Also teleprompter mode, which lets you read text while you are talking to the camera, and no one would ever know. Mostly. But there's one more important thing.
That's
one
cool.
more very important thing that I've somehow gotten this far into the video without mentioning yet, which is that if you hit this little button all the way up in the corner, that turns on the preview on the rear display.
That's cool. That's really
back
cool.
display. Because yes, that entire back camera plateau I mentioned earlier is actually a full corner-to-corner 3000 nit 120 hertz
That's
OLED
cool.
display. And it's kind of a lot of screen, actually. On the 17 Pro, it's 2.7 inches diagonally. Here on the Pro Max, it's 2.9 inches. And it's only really interrupted by the camera cutouts. So turning it into a viewfinder for those primary cameras makes a lot of sense.
And this is perfect if you want to like record videos and say like you like to use the back camera more than the front camera, because obviously there's like different quality of the camera. But having the preview on the back end where you can watch it like as you take pictures or videos, that's perfect. I would love that. So this is like one of the this is like one of the reasons why I would want to get like these types of phones.
To take just the highest quality selfies
Oppo?
mankind
Yeah,
has
people
ever
talk
seen.
about the Oppo one.
Kind of a no-brainer. And then you get all of the normal photo controls too. You can do zoom, you can control aspect ratio and video modes and stuff like that. So
That's cool.
that is the #1 use of this back display. But now that it's so much bigger, there's also way more that you can do with it. You might remember a couple years ago, this is not the first time Xiaomi's done a screen on the back camera bump of one of their flagships. Like the Xiaomi 11 Ultra wasn't that long ago, and it had the same thing, an absolutely gigantic camera bump and a little screen on the back. But the thing is, this concept is kind of evolving now, just like the outside screen on flipping phones. Like when they were small, you could kind of only really use it as a clock or maybe a notification alert banner, and that's about it. But then it got a bit bigger, and it was enough to see yourself in the camera viewfinder, so that was nice. And now the year is 2025, and it's a full screen, edge to edge, with just camera cutouts, and there's way more you can do with it. So
It kind of reminds me of like the Nintendo SP. I think that's what it looks like to me.
on this phone, you can double tap to wake it up, where it's showing clock in whatever style you want. Could be an analog style, could be a cartoon style, could be an Apple Watch ripoff style, whatever you want. But once it's awake, then you can swipe down to check your notifications and manage them there. You can also swipe over from the cameras to open straight to the camera app, and you can swipe over from the right edge to close whatever's open. And then a lot of the customization on the back here is frankly just like an Apple Watch, and that's probably exactly how Apple would do it if they suddenly had a screen on the back.
And that's the thing though. It's like if they make things that's similar to like Apple users, I think Apple users wouldn't mind transfer over to the Xiaomi phones, because it's like, oh, their interface is very familiar. I don't need to like learn a bunch of new things and new text. It's just like almost like a one-to-one but better
Of the iPhone. So you can hold down and then swipe to go back and forth between your watch faces or clock faces. And then if you want to add more options, the Settings app has a whole section dedicated to personalization, changing colors and dialing in all sorts of looks and themes. Everything from complicated watch complications to fitness-themed widgets to anime characters. It's everything. And there's a whole marketplace of all sorts of other options, so there's something for everyone. And then just beyond even the always-on clock on the back of the phone that you can always see and see your notifications and the camera viewfinder, there's all sorts of other little extra stuff too. Like this feels very well considered. It's like a
Also, he hasn't mentioned this, but like when you order this in the mail, it actually comes with like a case for your phone and a brick and charging cables. Not like Apple doesn't want to give out charging bricks.
real genuine feature, a reason to buy the phone. I feel like they've pushed it over beyond gimmick into actual useful thing. Like this can also show ongoing notifications. So if you've got a timer running, flip the phone over and it shows this nice little draining liquid animation to show your progress on that
cool.
timer. Why would you do this over watching a countdown on the main display? I don't know, but looks cool. And then it also shows me other ongoing stuff like phone calls or music playback, and then I control them from that back screen. Why would I do this on the back screen instead of the main screen? I still don't really know, but looks cool. They even made this ridiculous retro handheld gaming case for the phone with real buttons and a D-pad. So if you put that on the back of the phone, it connects via Bluetooth and it becomes a controller to play these mini games on that back screen. I can't believe they actually made and sold this. Now, why? Why would anyone want to play games on the tiny back display with two huge camera cutouts poking through it instead of actually some real impressive games on that awesome main screen? I still don't know. And I probably wouldn't do it, but nostalgia really does some crazy things to some people's brains. But really, I bring up all of this just to highlight
that silly.
This is clearly the most well thought out, most complete version of this screen on the back.
But yeah, that basically just, just glazing it. So yeah, that's like one of the options for the Xiaomi phone, the 17. And then there's one that I've been thinking about is this one, the Ultra. And I've been thinking about getting like the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, which I know it'll cost like a lot of money. I think it's like almost like $1,000, but it's still less than like if you want to buy an iPhone 17. Look up Oppo. No, this is
26.
No. This phone is better than the Oppo. I promise.
And it feels like most smartphones these days are like 50% computer, 50% camera. And the camera has been a more and more increasingly important part of every smartphone. But what if we just went all the way? What if it was just all camera that happens to have a phone attached to it? So this is a Leica camera, but now this is the Xiaomi 17 Ultra Leica edition.
So I've been seeing the photos and videos of this phone, and this is like something I would use to make ASMR videos. Like the quality is like insane. I understand like you guys saying Oppo, like that's also good, but like I'm like already sold on the Xiaomi phones.
Everything about this just kind of screams, I'm really trying to buy a camera, and then the rest of the smartphone is kind of secondary to that. And it starts all the way from the unboxing. So from the jump, they make it very clear that this is a Leica edition with their heavy use of that logo. You get the phone in the box, of course, but just to lean all the way into the camera feel, you also get this custom case with MagSafe magnets built in, which also has a Leica logo on it. And you will also get an aluminum lens cap that works with this case, which obviously also says Leica even bigger on it. And it comes with this really soft, extremely high quality microfiber cleaning cloth for keeping those lenses clean, and a wrist strap that can attach to the corner of the case like a camera lanyard. This accessories package alone probably costs $50-$60 just based on how nice they are. Now, you probably remember the Xiaomi 17 Pro and Pro Max from last year, which pretty clearly took after the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max as far as design. But this 17 Ultra, not so much. This camera kind of looks a little different and is pretty sweet, actually.
Like I said, no matter what phone you guys name, I'm already sold. I'm already sold of this phone.
I've got this cream colorway here, but there's actually a kind of a two-tone look. The bottom 2/3 of the phone, or camera, has a slight texture, where the top third is just smooth. The buttons are super clicky, and I kind of love the circular volume buttons with the plus and minus on them. Kind of a throwback to like the 2010s with the iPhone 4 days. But again, this is a camera more than it is a smartphone, so all of the branding on the back, of course, is horizontal. And if you've been paying any attention to the branding, you've probably also noticed it says Leica on this phone more than it says Xiaomi. The Xiaomi text on the back here is one time, but there's the Leica logo up here in the corner. It also says Leica on the camera plateau itself, and turn it sideways and you'll see it says Leica Camera Germany on the side of the phone, right above this sweet knurled texture for better grip. And to top it all off, the big camera plateau sits in a circle surrounded by a metal ring with more texture for grip, and that ring actually moves. So we'll get to that in a second. Really the only thing missing, and I'm kind of shocked it is like just a dedicated camera shutter button in that normal spot on the side for taking pictures in landscape mode. But if it's really all about these cameras, then let's just get right to them. So it's a triple camera setup on the back here. main camera, ultra wide, and a telephoto, and each one kind of has its own little magic to it. The main camera is a massive 1-inch sensor. It's 50 megapixels, it's at f1.67, and it's absolutely gigantic. The ultra wide is a good sensor too. It's a nice wide 14 millimeter lens,
Dude.
50 megapixels at f2.2.
See, this quality is something I would use a lot because I make ASMR videos, and this would definitely be like perfect to use, because I've been thinking about like upgrading my webcam into like an actual camera, but like if I get a phone like this, then I don't really need to get a camera because the quality is pretty much similar to like those high quality cameras.
And then there's the zoom, which is a 200 megapixel sensor, but more importantly, it's also a real variable focal length zoom. So it'll zoom in and out smoothly from a 75 millimeter equivalent to a 100 millimeter equivalent.
Look at that.
From f2.39 to f2.96. So there is a lot going on here. Now, you know what's really interesting now that I've been shooting with this camera is I wouldn't crown it necessarily the absolute best set of smartphone cameras, like quality-wise. It's still really good. It's very high up there, but it's not necessarily like the absolute best. It's got some flaws. It's not super clinical, but I would still crown it the best overall, like most fun smartphone camera shooting experience that I've ever had. And you know, when I first got this phone, I was a little nervous. It was, you know, covered in Leica logos, and I feel like this was primed to disappoint me. Like I would figure out it's just really a branding exercise from the Leica licensing department. But this has turned out to be a much more thoughtful execution than I was expecting. This camera app and the experience taking photos is just fun. It's a lot of fun, which is what you want out of a camera. So if you're just pointing and shooting like a normal smartphone camera, you'll have a great time. It's got reliable, quick autofocus. That big sensor gives you a lot of detail and a nice shallow depth of field. Images look great. It still does the classic Xiaomi brightening of skin tones, but that's not shocking.
Dude, I would use this to go to fur cons and take pictures of like fursuiters. Like this is something like people would like love the photo and then use it as their profile picture on their social media. Like I'm telling you.
At this point either. I also shot most of my Tesla Model Y performance review on the autofocus channel with this phone in video mode, and it looks great. It's so easy to just point and shoot and get good looking 8K video out of this phone without even batting an eye.
Yeah, and that's why with the ASMR video with the 8K and like autofocus, no matter what I can do, like say like I'm doing visual ASMR, it'll have that nice little autofocus to like help like see things close to the camera.
The microphones aren't as great, but I used an external mic with that video, which solved it instantly. So go watch that over there and subscribe if you're into car videos. But then beyond just the normal point and shoot, there's so many camera features. So I'll give you some of my highlights. So the ultra wide, like I mentioned, is actually very wide. It's a 14 millimeter equivalent, and it's actually decent quality, which makes it very usable. So that's really good. The variable zoom is pretty smooth and actually works. It's a 75 to 100 millimeter zoom, which means you can punch in with the full 200 megapixels before doing any cropping, which makes it that much more powerful of a zoom. And then the Leica partnership goes even deeper.
So
there's
cool.
Standard photos where you can switch between Leica Vibrant or Leica Authentic profiles. I mostly stick with Vibrant because it looks good. But when I do want a little more character, you can swipe over to Leica Essential mode. So if you thought buying an actual Leica camera was too expensive, now you can get one just through the image processing pipeline of this phone. Kinda, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it is worth noting that this isn't just filters. It is actually built into the capture process, so you can't like undo it at all. So the M9 is locked in daylight white balance and obviously is more contrasty and has a different color profile, but it looks really good. Still sharp, but a little less processed looking and more organic. It's just fun to take more artsy looking photos with this. Then the M3 is monochrome. But again, it's not just a black and white filter, it's actually emulating Leica Monopan 50 film, so it's contrasty, it has less dynamic range, it also has a nice grain to it. These are obviously not the highest quality photos of all time, but they are fun. There's dozens of other subtle looks that you can switch between in the camera app too, and there's a ton of other camera modes. Also, it is very satisfying to have a 200 megapixel telephoto that you can then continue to crop in on and get really respectable far zoom stuff without needing a bunch of AI enhancement. Physics. Also, 1920 by by 1080 video at
There it is.
1920 FPS.
There it is. That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for it till he said that. That's what I mean. The quality of the video to make ASMR videos for my channel. This is it. This is the reason why I'm like kind of sold, but I'm also thinking about what if I get a Xiaomi 17 because they have nice video quality 8K as well. But this one's like more of like fun if you want to take photos. And like I think like this obviously this is more expensive, but you can get like a Xiaomi 15 Ultra like around near the same price. But yeah,
because why not? And so then there's the ring around the camera on the back of this phone. Okay, so this ring, obviously, it's metal, it turns, and it turns fluidly, but as I turn, I get these haptics that make it feel like it's clicking. So it simulates a notched ring, and it's pretty convincing and satisfying. So twisting this ring really quick will actually act as a camera shortcut for opening the camera, and then once it's open, you can zoom in and out while taking photos in the normal camera mode by just turning the ring. But they didn't stop there. In video mode, the ring is actually mapped to adjusting exposure value by default, and then the customization keeps going because you can go into the camera ring settings and there's a whole menu that lets you choose what the ring does in every single camera mode and how sensitive it is. So in Pro mode, for example, you can map the ring to be a manual focus ring if you really want to, or for it to change shutter speed or white balance Kelvin value, which is sick. It's like the iPhone's camera control, but way more physical and clearly with way more flexibility.
Dude, I could be a freaking fursuit photographer with this. Like, imagine I start going to cons and I like take pictures, and then they're like, "Whoa, that's a good quality. What kind of camera was it?" It's like, "Oh, it's my Xiaomi Ultra phone." And you're like, "Whoa, what's that?" It's like, yeah, like that's also another reason why I want to make like a series of like buying these Xiaomi products and like see like if people would want to convert their Android, Samsung, Apple into like the Xiaomi phones or Xiaomi products. You know what I mean?
They really went all out with this camera experience, from the sensors, the hardware itself, to the accessories around it, to all the software customization, all the modes, to all the Leica integration, to the camera ring. And the best part is it's a Xiaomi phone, so the rest of the phone underneath is still really good. It's actually a flagship. It has a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, LPDDR5X RAM, UFS 4.1 storage, so performance is pretty great for a camera. It also has this huge 6.9-inch flat 120Hz display that gets up to 3,500 nits. It's got a 6,800 mAh silicon carbon battery.
I don't know if he's gonna mention this, but there's an attachment that you can buy for this phone where it's kind of like like those big cameras that has like the little flashy circle up top, kind of like a grip on the right side. You can put that on the phone and have a better grip of like holding your phone like a camera, which is kind of cool. I don't know if he's going to mention it.
90-watt fast charging, 50-watt wireless charging, and it also somehow keeps its full IP69 dust and water resistance rating despite having the moving part, that camera ring, so that's pretty cool too. And it's running the same software as other Xiaomi flagships, HyperOS 3, on top of Android 16. But you know what? It's not perfect though. Nothing's ever perfect. This does have some flaws. And I just want to start with the camera ring. Like, it's a really cool idea, obviously, and it works. But similar to Apple's camera control, it's a little more awkward to use sometimes in real life. It feels a little bit clunky. Like, if you stick to the default, which is zooming in and out, there's about a 99.995% chance your fingers will get in the shot, especially if you zoom out to the ultra wide,
right?
Versus just a regular zoom by pressing on the touchscreen. And it's also annoyingly easy to accidentally trigger or brush the ring just when you're holding the phone, which means sometimes accidentally quick launching the camera app. Then there's the variable zoom from the telephoto lens from 75 to 100 millimeters. And it's cool, it's really interesting tech, but it's also not that much zoom. Like, it's cool that they've fit it into a periscope camera that turns all the elements sideways and takes advantage of the space. But you can see it's 3.2x to 4.3x. That's where all the smooth continuous zoom is. So I feel like you could just take 2 steps forward and get the same result. And then, for a phone that's so focused on being such a good camera experience, I'm usually going in and playing with the settings and like trying to get the highest quality photos possible. So I'm going from the 12 megapixel bin photos to 50 megapixels. And then when I close the camera app and then reopen it again, it's back to 12 every single time. I can't think of a real camera that would forget my settings if I'd sat it down for a while and picked it back up and woke it up again. And I know that's what most smartphones do. They always switch back to the bin settings just to keep your storage use down. But this isn't supposed to be a normal camera phone, But look, there is that famous quote, and you've probably heard it before, that the best camera is the one you have with you. And I don't know who said it first or where it came from, but it's still true.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty sick that in the year 2026, you can have that be a full-fledged Leica experience that fits in your pocket. So,
and that's the thing though, is like if you want to like start like your YouTube channel, like a lot of people like use their phones because like they don't need to go invest on like a big video camera or a webcam. They could just like get a tripod, put their phone on there, and then they just start recording. And that's what like that's why like a lot of people will like do vlogs with just their phones, you know what I mean?
So, well played, Xiaomi. Well played. And
yeah, so basically like Xiaomi 17 Ultra or the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, that would be like the phones to get. They have like the more cheaper kind, like the Redmi ones, but I'm like more into the whole like Xiaomi phones now than ever before.